Hello everyone. I just wanted to announce that I'm offering a new service on my website, and these are Skype sessions. And this is something that I haven't felt guided to do until now. And I am offering three different types of sessions. I'm offering a 30-minute Skype session, and during these 30 minutes, we can basically do whatever it is that you want to do. If you want to concentrate on tarot or oracle card readings, we can do that. So if you have more than three questions and the advanced reading doesn't really work for you, then you can ask me, as many questions as you want during these 30 minutes. So we can do that if you're more focused on readings and wanting to know things that are going on in your life. But you can also ask me questions relating to spirituality, ways to increase your awareness, or any type of anything related to spirituality. You can ask me during the session, or you can also use it as a mini spiritual mentoring session, which will basically I will kind of give you tips on what you can do to increase your awareness. So that's the 30-minute Skype session, and I'm also offering a 1-hour session, which you can basically do the same thing that we did with the 30-minute session, with the exception of one thing. If you wanted to do kind of use the hour mostly to do like a mini spiritual mentoring session, I will channel a message from your higher self about your current level of awareness and kind of what's going on there and what you need to do to kind of shift your awareness to higher levels. And so we can discuss this during the session. And this is only available for the 1-hour Skype session. I won't channel any type of messages for the 30-minute. I can offer you my opinion on what you can do to increase your awareness, but it doesn't involve any type of channeling, only the 1-hour session. And if you wanted to kind of split that up into like 30 minutes, we can discuss what your higher self said about increasing your awareness, and then for the other 30 minutes you want to do some readings with cards. That's perfectly fine with me. So that's the 1-hour session. And I'm offering what I called a soul consciousness weekly Skype sessions, and this is for 1 month. So basically we will meet for 1 month on Skype, and we will do weekly sessions. And what these sessions are about, these are meant to help you expand your awareness and kind of live from a higher level of consciousness, from living more from your higher self. And I will, at the beginning of the session, as soon as you kind of book this reading, I will channel a message from your higher self kind of about where you are right now in your level of awareness. Are you mostly living from the ego self? Are you beginning to awaken? Are you already living from your higher self? This is what I meant by where you are at your current level of awareness. So that will be discussed during the first session to kind of let you know where you're at. And every time that we meet, before I get on Skype with you, I'm going to communicate with your higher self to kind of find out what needs to be worked on. And it's important that you understand that these sessions I'm not going to be doing anything to you. I've seen a lot of things online that are kind of misleading, and that's part of the reason I felt guided to do this, because I feel like some people are genuine and in wanting to expand their awareness, and sometimes you kind of see things online that look really good, and you jump on it because you really want to make change. But sometimes these offers are really coming from a lower vibration, and sometimes people are your money is precious to you, and you don't want to throw it away on something that is pretty much a scam. And like I said before, I've come across this myself with some people online who kind of have come to me and offered me things. And one I've already talked about. No one can kind of offer you something and make any type of promise. Now that's another thing is that I've listed on my website, is that this is a long process of expanding your awareness. I can't tell you that this is going to happen in a month, because I can already tell you that is impossible. That is impossible. Well, kind of depending on where you are, it's possible that it can happen close to a month, maybe 2 to 3 months, depending on where you are. But if you're still kind of living from the ego self, there's going to be a lot of work to be done. But this will kind of, these sessions will kind of be like your guidebook to reaching higher levels of awareness. And so that's what you want. You imagine if you had a telephone and you could dial up your higher self and ask them for tips. That's basically what I'm going to do for you. I'm your telephone, for those that can't communicate with their higher self. Now, I wanted to kind of give you an idea, and I sat down and I kind of brainstormed on kind of different levels of awareness that I have been in throughout the years, where I was kind of living from my ego self, and then when I was awakening, and then when I was finally starting to live from my higher self. When I was living, so this, I'm telling you all this so you kind of understand, like, if you're interested in this, so what kind of information that you may receive. I mean, you're not going to receive the same type of messages that I'm listing here. This is just, looking back now from a higher perspective at where I've been, at different places in my life, different stages of awareness. I've realized that if I had met someone like myself in the past, this is what they would have told me that my higher self was trying to get me to work on. When I was living mostly from my ego self, and this was a few years ago, these are things that were holding me back from reaching higher levels of awareness. And so these are some of the things that might come up for those people. My higher self would have told the person doing the Skype session, she is cussing too much. There's too much anger. I went through some phases where I was having a difficult relationship with my brother, and for some reason that even moved on to my sister. I was drinking a lot of caffeine. I was addicted to drinking 7 to 8 cans of soda a day, caffeine, which I've totally cut out of my life. I was also really fixated on finding a 9-to-5 job, and all the doors were closed to me. I could not find one. It was really frustrating me. So that's when I was living for my ego self, and also I was really kind of pushing things to happen with my husband, with my marriage. I was really trying to change him into who I thought he should be, and so that was also frustrating to myself. And the final thing that happened when I was kind of living from my ego self is that I realized that I don't belong where I live right now, but I was just really confused. I had no idea where I was meant to live. I just knew I didn't belong here. So that was kind of like the process of awakening for me, to realize that I did not belong in Texas. And so now I'm kind of moving on to the stage where I was beginning to awaken, and this is when I was suddenly drawn to crystals. And these crystals help to raise my vibration and help to bring in a lot of different spiritual changes that actually are still happening now. So that was my first interaction with awakening, was starting to be drawn to crystals. When I had never heard of any of them, I had never worked with any of them, it's just suddenly I felt drawn to buy one online, and then I took it from there. I was also drawn to a specific place here in San Antonio, Texas, and it was this metaphysical bookstore, and I was meant to go there because there was someone there who was meant to help me to reach higher levels of awareness. And this person has an extremely high vibration, and so every time I would go to see her, my vibration would go up. And I'd noticed that every time I talked to her, even though she was really expensive, well, the store was, that I would have some type of major breakthrough. There would be a major shift. And so, everything that happened was meant to kind of lead me there. And there's actually more to that story, but I don't know, maybe I should probably leave that out. But I was also drawn during this phase of awakening to meditating, and this is when I started using the shamanic drumming meditation. That's when I had my first vision and began to hear clairaudiently. And I was also guided during this process of awakening to start doing daily blog readings. I used to do them on spiritual networks. And then from there, I progressed to doing daily video readings on YouTube. This was all during my process of awakening. And then when, during the final stage where I'm at now, I won't say final because I'm still growing, when I was kind of living more from my higher self, I began channeling. And at first, this was mostly for myself. All messages were for myself. And this happened for quite some time. It took some time for me to experience different shifts to where I was finally able to be of service to other people. And this is when I started offering intuitive channel readings on my website. Because everyone who's been watching me for a while knows that I started off with card readings, and card readings only. I was not able to hear clairaudiently at first. And then I could hear, but only for myself. So this was all, different phases that I went through. And then, of course, I kind of progressed to being able to do past life readings and kind of recognize people from my past lives. And that opened up an entirely different level of awareness, kind of seeing why certain relationships in my life are the way they are, why I have a karmic connection to different people, and who they've been to me. And, of course, also during this phase of living for my higher self, I was more drawn to the ascended masters, who were also drawn to me, including other beings of light. I was also able to recognize my soul family, and my soul family recognized me. Now, my soul family probably wouldn't have recognized me when I was living from the ego self, because I was at a totally different vibration. They probably would not have recognized me. But during this phase of living from my higher self, my soul family is recognizing me, and kind of, some of them have recognized me, and I'm now recognizing some of them. Also during this phase of living from the higher self, I'm understanding free will more. I'm understanding that there are different outcomes, that I'm here in this incarnation, and my creator kind of put me here, but I'm the one in charge, and so I'm allowed to make decisions, and I'm aware now that every decision I make could lead to a different outcome. So the future is not written in stone. I'm aware now that I'm creating my own reality. And I mean, this is something that I say every day in my readings, but for me it's more real, because I experience this like every night during meditation, is that I see clairvoyantly and clairaudiently. I'm hearing different outcomes in my life depending on what choice I make. So I'm more aware of free will now more than ever. Also during this level of higher awareness of living from the higher self, I see future lives for me and for those around me. So I'm more aware that we're writing basically our script for our future lives right now. And also during this stage of living from the higher self, I'm more aware of soul contracts that I have with other people. These are contracts that have to be honored. And of course, everything that I've said so far from the higher self, I never would have been aware of living from the ego self. So that's basically what this soul consciousness is meant to do for you. And so basically, everything that I've told you is, I've jotted it down here and I'll show you. Let's see. I'll just change I have it here, and it looks pretty neat and to the point. But this has been like a couple of years of change for me, starting from here. This is when I was kind of living from the ego self, to here when I was beginning to awaken, to here, which is basically where I'm at now, living mostly from the higher self. So this has been a long process that I had to figure out on my own, and that I'm still figuring out on my own. So I figured if I can kind of be of assistance to other people, if I can be like that telephone that you need to get in touch with your higher self, to kind of tell you what are you doing that is not to your benefit, what is kind of blocking you from that phase of awakening, or what is blocking you from that phase of living from your higher self. That is what these Skype sessions are all about. It's not meant to I'm not going to make you a medium overnight. That can't happen. I'm not going to ascend you. That can't happen. All of this, all of this takes time, and it takes growth. It takes a lot of spiritual growth and personal growth, and this is only something that you can do. And I can imagine, I'm feeling like some of the messages that you will get will be really personal, and Some of them may take time for you to do, but these are all supposed to lead you to living from higher levels of awareness. So I just wanted to make that clear, because I don't want to offer anything that is misleading. I don't want anyone to think that these weekly Skype sessions are kind of going to make you psychic in a month. Like I said before, I really don't like that word anymore. But it's mostly, it's better to kind of view it as living from your higher self. That is the perfect way to describe it. This is how you want to live, living from your higher self, from higher levels of awareness. And so, of course, if you're still living from the ego self, then there's still some growth to do before you get there. And that's where this communication between me and your higher self comes in, to where I can communicate to you what changes that they want you to make. And of course, anyone can learn to do this. Anyone can learn to hear their higher self, but it's just that not everyone is there yet at that. Everyone is at that phase yet where you can communicate with the higher realms and the higher self. You can get there, but not everyone is there. And I wish that at the time that I was kind of living from my ego self, that I'd had a clone of myself that offered something similar to this, that could have helped me with the change, because I was really stuck at a certain phase to where I really didn't really know what to do. And that's when I kind of felt drawn to crystals, and I did most of the work on my own. I did have a little bit of help, but it's kind of been a trial and error thing. So if I can help anyone from avoiding this long period of confusion and looking for answers, then I'm definitely doing what I'm supposed to do. So that is what the Skype sessions are about, and everything's listed on my website at www.channeledguidance.com. And if you have any questions, you can either inbox me on YouTube, or you can send me a message through my website. Okay, so I thank you for watching, and I'll speak to you soon.